Coordinate geometry, the intersection of two lines. The intersection of two lines. If we have two lines, we can find the point where they intersect by solving the pair of equations of the lines. For example, if we have a pair of lines with the equations 3x plus 2y equals 17 and 4x plus 5y equals 25, we can find their intersection point by solving the pair of simultaneous equations 3x plus 2y equals 17 and 4x plus 5y equals 25. Now if we multiply the top one by 5 and the bottom one by 2, we'll end up with 15x plus 10y equals 85 and 8x plus 10y equals 50. What we've done is make the coefficients of y the same in both equations. So if we subtract, we end up with 7x equals 35, which means x is equal to 5. Now, if we substitute 5 for x in the top equation, the equation 3x plus 2y equals 17 becomes 15 plus 2y equals 17. So if we subtract 15 from both sides, that's 2y equals 2 or y equals 1. And so we find the answer is x equals 5, y equals 1. Now we can see this on a graph. To plot the graph, we need a table. We need two rows, x and y, and we choose values of x, 1, 3 and 5. Then we work out the values of y. Now 3x plus 2y equals 17, so if x is 1, 3 plus 2y is 17, so 2y is 14, y is 7. If x is 3, then 3x is 9, 9 plus 2y equals 17, so 2y is equal to 8, y is equal to 4. If x is equal to 5, 3x is 15 plus 2y equals 17, so 2y equals 2, y equals 1. We can plot those points on a graph and join with a straight line. Now if we draw a table for the second equation, again we have two rows x and y. I've chosen values 0, 2.5 and 5. The second equation is 4x plus 5y equals 25, so if x is 0, 5y equals 25, y is equal to 5. If x is equal to 2.5, then 4x is equal to 10, 10 plus 5y equals 25, 5y is 15, so y is 3, and if x is 5, 4 5s are 20, so 20 plus 5y equals 25, 5y equals 5, so y equals 1. We can plot those points on the graph and join with a straight line. And we see the graph lines cross at the point 5, 1. So that gives us the same solution as when we solved the equations. Let's look at another example. By drawing a graph, solve the pair of simultaneous equations 4x plus y equals 1 and 3y plus 4x equals minus 1. Now to solve this, we need to create tables and then draw the graph grid, plot the points and draw the graphs. So for 4x plus y equals 1, I've drawn a table choosing values of x 0, 1 and 2. And if x is 0, then y is 1. If x is 1, then 4 plus y is 1, so y is minus 3. And if x is 2, 8 plus y equals 1, and so y equals minus 7. Now we can plot those points on the graph and join them with a straight line. For the graph 3y plus 4x equals minus 1, I've drawn a table and chosen values of x minus 1, 2 and 5. Now if x is minus 1, we have 3y minus 4 equals minus 1. If we add 4 to both sides, 3y equals 3, so y is 1. If we put x as 2, we have 3y plus 8 equals minus 1. So 3y equals minus 9 or y equals minus 3. If we choose x is 5, we have 3y plus 20 equals minus 1. So 3y is minus 21, y is minus 7. We can plot these points and draw the line. Now we notice the two lines intersect at a half minus 1. And so the solution to the equation is x is a half and y is minus 1. Now the following is an exercise. You can pause the video at this point and try the questions yourself. When you finish them, you can restart the video and I will go through the answers. Okay, let's see how they're done. Well, in question 1, we have to draw the graph of each equation and find the intersection of each pair of lines. So for question 1, we've got y equals x plus 1 and 2y plus x equals 8. Now we need to draw a table, choose values of x and calculate the values of y for each equation. So the first equation is y equals x plus 1. I'll draw a table and then choose values of x 0, 2 and 4. Now if x is 0, then y is 0 plus 1, which is 1. If x is 2, then y is 2 plus 1, which is 3. And if x is 4, y is 4 plus 1, which is 5. So we can plot these points on the graph and join them with a straight line. For the equation 2y plus x equals 8, I draw out a table, I choose some values of x, I've chosen 0, 2 and 4, and then I work out the values of y. Well, if x is 0, 2y is 8, and so y is 4. If x is 2, then 2y plus 2 equals 8, so 2y is 6, y is equal to 3. If x is equal to 4, 2y plus 4 equals 8, so 2y is 4, or y is 2. Now we can plot those points on the graph and join with a straight line. Now we see that the two lines intersect each other at the point 2, 3. So our answer is the lines cross at the point 2, 3. If we look at the second question, we've got y equals x plus 2 and y equals 2x plus 1. So for the first equation, I draw out a table and I choose values of x. I've chosen 0, 2 and 4. So if x is 0, y is equal to 0 plus 2 or 2. If x is equal to 2, then y equals 2 plus 2, which is 4. And if x is 4, y equals 4 plus 2, which is 6. I can plot those points on the grid and join with a straight line. Then, for the second equation, y equals 2x plus 1, I draw out a grid, I choose values of x, let's say 0, 2 and 4, and then if x is 0, y is 2 times 0 plus 1, which is 1. If x is 2, y is 2 times 2 plus 1, which is 5. And if x is 4, y is 2 times 4 plus 1, which is 9. I can plot two of those points on the grid. The third one goes off, but that's enough. I can join with a straight line. Now we see that the graphs cross at the point 1, 3. And so our answer is the lines cross at 1, 3. For question 1, part 3, we have the two equations are 2y equals x plus 3 and y plus x equals 6. Now we need to draw out a table. So for 2y equals x plus 3, I've drawn a table. I'll choose the values of x as 1, 3 and 5. If x is 1, 2y equals 1 plus 3, so 2y equals 4, y equals 2. If x is equal to 3, 2y equals 3 plus 3, which is 6, and so y is equal to 3. If x is equal to 5, 2y is equal to 5 plus 3, so 2y is equal to 8, y is equal to 4. Now, I can plot those points on the grid and join with a straight line. If we look at the second equation, y plus x equals 6, I can draw out a table. I can choose values of x as 0, 2 and 4. Now, if x is 0, y plus 0 is 6, so y is 6. If x is 2, y plus 2 is equal to 6, so y is 4. And if x is 4, y plus 4 equals 6, and so y is equal to 2. Again, I can plot those points on the grid and join with a straight line. Now we notice the two lines cross at the point 3, 3, and so that's our answer. The lines cross at 3, 3. Now in part 4, the two equations are 2y plus x equals 2 and 2y plus 3x equals 10. So for 2y plus x equals 2, I can draw out a table. I'll choose the values of x as 0, 2 and 4. Now if x is 0, we have 2y equals 2, so y is 1. If x is 2, 2y plus 2 is 2, so 2y is 0, or y is 0. If x is equal to 4, 2y plus 4 equals 2, so 2y is minus 2, y is minus 1. I can plot those points and join them with a straight line. Now for the second equation, 2y plus 3x equals 10. Again, I can draw out a table, choose values of x as 0, 2 and 4. If x is 0, then 2y plus 0 is 10, y is 5. If x is 2, then 2y plus 6 equals 10, so 2y is 4, y is 2. If x is 4, 2y plus 12 equals 10, so 2y is minus 2, and so y is minus 1. We can plot those points and join with a straight line. And we see the lines cross at the point 4, minus 1, and so our answer is the lines cross at 4, minus 1. Now, in question 2, in each graph we have to find the equation of the two lines and solve them to find the exact intersection of the pair of lines. Now, in question 2 part 1, we can use the formula y equals mx plus c to find the equation of each line. If we look at line A, it crosses the y-axis at 6. That means c is equal to 6. If we draw a triangle under the line, we see the height is 2 and the base is 1. Now the line slopes down, so the gradient m is equal to minus the height over the base, which is minus 2 over 1, or minus 2. So the equation is y equals minus 2x plus 6. If we look at line B, we first see that it crosses the y-axis at 1. So in this case, c is equal to 1. If we draw a triangle under the line, we see the height is 2 and the base is 3. So that means the gradient m is the height over the base, 2 over 3, or 2/3. So the equation is y equals 2/3 x plus 1. Now we can eliminate y from both those equations simply by equating them. So we end up with 2/3 x plus 1 equals minus 2x plus 6. We can multiply all the way through by 3 to get rid of the fraction. So 2x plus 3 equals minus 6x plus 18. If we add 6x to both sides and subtract 3 from both sides, That gives us 8x equals 15, or x is 15 over 8, that is 1 7/8. Now if we substitute that in for x in the equation y equals 2/3 x plus 1, we have y equals 2/3 of 15 over 8 plus 1, which simplifies to 5 over 4 plus 1, which means y is equal to 2 1/4. So the lines cross at 1 7/8, 2 1/4. In 2 part 2 we can again use the formula y equals mx plus c to find the equation of each line. Now line A crosses the y-axis at 6, so c is equal to 6. And if we draw a triangle under the line, the height is 3 and the base is 2. Now that means the line slopes down, so the gradient is minus the height over the base. In other words, m is equal to minus 3 over 2. So the equation is y equals minus 3 over 2x plus 6. If we look at line B, it crosses the y-axis at 1, so c is equal to 1. And if we draw a triangle underneath it, we can see the gradient is 1 over 2. So the equation is y equals a half x plus 1. Now to solve these two equations, we can eliminate y by equating them. So a half x plus 1 is equal to minus 3 over 2x plus 6. Now if we add 3 over 2x to both sides and subtract 1, we end up with 2x equals 5. In other words, x is 2.5. Now, y is a half x plus 1. A half of 2.5 is 1 1/4, so y is 1 1/4 plus 1, or y equals 2 1/4. So the lines cross at the point 2.5, 2 1/4. If we look at 2 part 3, we see that the line A passes through the points -1 3 and 3 4. So this time, to get the equation of the line, we can use the formula y minus y1 over y2 minus y1 equals x minus x1 over x2 minus x1. Now we have x1 is -1 and y1 is 3. x2 is 3 and y2 is 4. So substituting, we get y minus 3 over 4 minus 3 equals x take away -1 over 3 take away -1. That simplifies to y minus 3 over 1 is equal to x plus 1 over 4. In other words, y minus 3 is a quarter of x plus 1. Now that means y is equal to a quarter x plus 3 1/4. Now if we look at line B, we can use the formula y equals mx plus c. We notice the line crosses at 6, so c is equal to 6. If we draw a triangle under the line, we can see the height is 2 and the base is 1, but the line is sloping down. And so the gradient m is minus 2 over 1, which is -2. So the line is y equals minus 2x plus 6. Now we can eliminate y from both those equations by simply equating them, and so a quarter x plus 3 1/4 equals minus 2x plus 6. We can get rid of the fractions by multiplying all the way through by 4, so x plus 13 equals minus 8x plus 24. If we add 8x to both sides and subtract 13, we end up with 9x equals 11, or x is 11 over 9, which is 1 2/9. Now we have y is minus 2x plus 6, so y is minus 22 over 9 plus 6, which works out to be 3 5/9. So we see the lines cross at 1 over 2/9 and 3 5/9. In 2 part 4, we see that the line A crosses the y-axis at 2, so the y-intercept C is equal to 2. If we draw a triangle under the line A, we see the height is 1 and the base is 2, but the line is sloping down, so the gradient is minus the height over the base. M is equal to minus 1 over 2. So the equation is y equals minus a half x plus 2. For line B, we can't see where it crosses the y-axis, so we have to find 2 points that it passes through. These are 2, 0 and 3, 3. So if we use the formula y minus y1 over y2 minus y1 equals x minus x1 over x2 minus x1, we have x1 is 2, y1 is 0, and x2 is 3, y2 is 3. So that gives us y minus 0 over 3 minus 0 equals x minus 2 over 3 minus 2. That simplifies to y over 3 equals x minus 2 all over 1. Well, if we multiply both sides by 3, y equals 3x minus 6. Now, we can eliminate y from both equations by just equating them. So 3x minus 6 equals minus a half x plus 2. We can double all the way through to get rid of fractions. So 6x minus 12 equals minus x plus 4. We can add 12 to both sides and add x to both sides, and that gives us 7x equals 16. So x is equal to 16 over 7, or 2 2/7. Now we know y is equal to 3x minus 6. So y is equal to 3 times 16 over 7 minus 6, or 48 over 7 minus 6. If we multiply all the way through by 7, 7y equals 48 minus 42. 7y is equal to 6. So y is equal to 6 over 7. So the lines cross at the point 2 2/7 and 6 over 7. Now in question 3, we're told a line passing through the point 3, 1 with gradient 3 intersects a line that passes through 3, 3 and 9, 13. In part 1, we have to write down the equation of each line and solve them to find the point of intersection. To do this, for line 1, we're going to use the equation y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. Now we know it goes through the point 3, 1, so x1 is 3 and y1 is 1. We're told its gradient is 3, so m is equal to 3. Substituting, we get y minus 1 equals 3 into x minus 3. Expanding the bracket, y minus 1 equals 3x minus 9. Add 1 to both sides, y equals 3x minus 8. And that's our first equation. For line 2, we have 2 points that it goes through, so we're going to use the formula y minus y1 over y2 minus y1 equals x minus x1 over x2 minus x1. Now, the first point is 3, 3, so x1 is 3, y1 is 3. The second point is 9, 13, so x2 is 9 and y2 is 13. Substituting gives us y minus 3 over 13 minus 3 is equal to x minus 3 over 9 minus 3. In other words, y minus 3 over 10 equals x minus 3 over 6. If we cross multiply, that gives us 6 into y minus 3 equals 10 into x minus 3. We can halve both sides. 3 into y minus 3 equals 5 into x minus 3. Expanding the brackets, 3y minus 9 equals 5x minus 15. If we add 9 to both sides, we get 3y equals 5x minus 6. And that's our second equation. Now, we need to solve them. Now, the first equation is y equals 3x minus 8, and the second equation starts with 3y equals 5x minus 6. So if we triple the first equation, we have 3y equals 9x minus 24, and also 3y equals 5x minus 6. Now both of them have 3y on the left-hand side, so we can equate the right-hand sides. So 9x minus 24 equals 5x minus 6. Subtract 5x from both sides and add 24, and we end up with 4x equals 18, which means x is equal to 4.5. Now y is 3x minus 8, so that's 3 times 4.5 minus 8. Y is 13.5 minus 8, which means y is equal to 5.5. So the lines cross at 4.5, 5.5. Now, to draw this on a graph, we first need a grid. For line 1, we've got to mark the point 3, 1, and then draw a line with gradient 3. Now, to do that, we need to draw a triangle with slope 3. So if we take the base as 2, the height would have to be 6. So if we draw that triangle at the point 3, 1, we can draw the line up the hypotenuse of the triangle, and that gives us our first line. For our second line, we have to mark the points 3, 3 and 9, 13, and then just join them with a straight line. Now we can see that the lines intersect at the point 4.5, 5.5. In other words, x is 4.5 and y is 5.5.